Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about ring flash, how it works, why you want to use it, and how you can make your very own at home. It's easy. Stick around. So ring flash is exactly what it sounds like. It's basically a flash that goes around your lens, and it's great for use in close-up macro photography, product photography, and it's even got some good uses in portraits. So it's a useful flash, it's a lot of fun to use, but if you want to buy one, it's going to cost you a few $100 at least. And I know for me, it's not something that I use very often. So instead of going out and buying one, I decided to make my own. I'm going to show you what I did. It's very simple and easy to make one of these at home. You can make your own and play around with it, and then I'll show you some really cool examples of exactly how it works. So you should be able to make this thing at home with things that you already have in the house. You're basically going to need a pie tray, some wax paper or even just regular paper, and some tape. So basically what I did here is I took a regular pie tin, a circular pie tin, laid it down, cut a hole in the back, which basically is about the same size as a lens because you're going to want your lens to fit through this. Again, I'm not the craftiest person in the world, so I kind of like fumbled through this as I did it. There's probably better ways to do it, so just keep in mind as I go through this, there may be a better way to do this. And if there is, put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it, but this is my fumble through method of how to do it. So you get the pie tin, you're going to want to cut a hole in the back to fit, like I said, a lens, the biggest, widest lens that you want to use to be able to fit actually through the opening. Once you have that cut out, you're going to want to put inside a little cylinder, something preferably metallic or reflective inside there. And then on top, you're just going to lay on top. I used wax paper, just lay it on top, cut it out, and then just basically tape everything into place. So that's all this is right here, is basically an empty pie tin with a piece of wax paper over the top. It cost like probably 15 cents between all of this and a little bit of tape that I used. And while you're at it, if you're going to make one of these, make a handful of them, make 4 or 5 of them, because it's very fragile, very lightweight. It gets beat up when you use it, but it doesn't need to look pretty. But before I show you how this works, just keep in mind, if you have a paid gig, if you're getting paid by somebody to shoot, whether you're going to use this for portraits or product photography, don't show up with this. It's not very pro. So definitely if you're going to be getting paid to shoot products, macro work, things like that, definitely, get a good ring light if you need it. Like I said, if you're getting paid for it, it's worth it. And you're just not going to look very pro showing up with a pie tin wrapped around your camera. But if you're like me and you kind of just do this stuff only a little bit and you only do it in your own home and in the studio, something like this works really great. So let me show you what I do. First thing I got to find is something to shoot macro. One of my favorite things to shoot are Disney pins. So here's a Mickey pin, standard cute little Mickey. So I'm going to get up really close and get some macro photos of this pin. Now, when I shoot macro, I don't use a macro lens. I use extension tubes. So I did a video on it. I'll put a link here. You can see why I use extension tubes rather than macro lenses for my close-up work. But with my macro lens mounted to my 50 millimeters, I'm going to get a shot really close to this. And using just the hot shoe mounted flash, you're going to see what it looks like. And you're going to see how it really doesn't work that great. So take a look at this shot. So now you can see there, the problem is that the bottom half of the image is dark. And the reason is my subject is so close to the front of my lens, because I'm getting really up close with this macro shot, that it's actually casting a shadow. The lens itself is casting a shadow on the image. Even though I have a big flash that's kind of, way off the lens, it still isn't far enough off the lens to avoid that shadow. So then what I need to do is actually get the flash off of the camera. So what I use is a little accessory that everybody should have. It's an off-shoe cord for the flash. Now these, it's a relatively cheap accessory. You can get it for like 15 bucks. This is the Canon brand. It was probably $25. There are off brands that are $10 to $15. Basically the way that this works is it just mounts right to the top of the hot shoe. The other part of it mounts to the bottom of the flash. And now you're ready to just fire away. Now what's great about this is not just for this kind of work also, now you actually have an extension where if you need to shoot and you need to get your flash even further away from your lens to really extend it, you could shoot any situation like this by just using your arm, and the longer arm you have, the better off. using your arm to get your flash really far away from your lens. So you can use it for that also. That's why an accessory like this is really good to have. I recommend getting one, even if you're not doing a shoot like this, to have one of these cords. So now let me do the same shot that I just took using this. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to get this kind of in front of the lens right next to the subject, and you'll see what this macro shot looks like using the off-camera shoot cord. So I'm going to shoot just like this and fire the flash right into the subject. So now you see there, it's more evenly lit. The whole scene is definitely lit, but it's kind of one directional. The light is coming from one side, it's casting a harsh shadow across the rest of it, and it really doesn't look as flattering as it should look. Which now brings me to the ring flash. So what I'm going to do with this is, remember I said I cut a hole wide enough for me to be able to fit a lens through. So now, basically just like that, my ring flash is all set up and ready to go. I have a hole in the side of my pie tin where I'm just going to put the head of the flash right into this hole. Again, this is a little bit makeshift, obviously, but now I have to hold this in place, but now I'm ready to fire away. And when I do, it has a nice even light. So I'm going to take the same shot that I just took before, and you're going to see what it looks like using the ring flash. So now it looks so much better. It's a nice even light. Everything's evenly illuminated. There's no harsh shadows, and it's just everything is just perfectly evenly lit from a very, very up close macro shot like this. So it's a really cool way to get that effect and lighting. Now, like I said before, this has other applications too, not just macro product photography. I use it for portraits sometimes. It's really has a cool look for portraits. I'll show you some examples here. It's really cool for like makeup shots. If you have somebody who's doing makeup and they want to show that off, it's really cool for that. There's a reason why you've probably seen these for phones. They have actually this big light that goes all the way around, and sometimes a phone case will be lit all the way around with LED lights, and that's why it has a nice even lighting across the whole thing without casting any harsh shadows. So you can definitely use it for something like that, like also. But like I said, if you're getting paid for a gig, don't show up with this thing. Get yourself a real ring light. This is just for kind of the privacy of your own home. It gets the same effect basically, but you don't want to show up to an actual paid gig with something like this. It's just fun to use at home. It gives you a great light. It lets you do some things that you wouldn't be able to do with just a flash alone. Even with this off-camera shoot cord, gets you kind of lighting that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. So definitely give this a try. If you have any other ways that you've come up with to create something like this, I love making do-it-yourself homemade camera accessories. So I love stuff like that. So if you have any suggestions how to make this even better, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Any questions about how to put something like this together, definitely put those in the comments below. Like I said, I'm not really that crafty. I just kind of fuddled my way through this and made it. But it's held up. This has actually lasted me several years. This hasn't fallen apart yet. So it's held up a pretty long time. I'm pretty proud of myself for that. So I hope you like this video. I hope you find something like this helpful. It'll definitely add a little bit extra to your photography. If you like this video, I hope you do. I hope you like my little pie tin. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Definitely subscribe to the channel and click on that little notification bell. This way you get notified every time we post a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.